the first thing I'm going to start is with the elements. So I need my periodic table up here, okay? And with my periodic table, I have 4 compounds that are critical, that make up the majority or 96% of all living tissue, especially in the human body, okay? And what I'm going to do is I'm going to use a term so that you can remember this stuff, okay? Because, you know, when I was in graduate school and even in college and even in high school, when this stuff started getting pretty hairy, I had to come up with ways to remember this. And I'm going to go back, Professor Paul, to Redford, Texas, where I grew up in Presidio, Texas. And down in Redford, Texas, in Presidio, my dad had a best friend, and his name was Chon. C-H-O-N, Chon. Well, guess what? Chon is the same thing right here that makes up 96% of all of the elements that are in the human body, okay? And what I'm going to do, I'm not going to spell Chon, C-H-O-N, the way the word is. What I'm going to do, I'm going to put it in terms of the content, okay? The first one I'm going to start off with is hydrogen, okay? Hydrogen makes up about, right here, hydrogen makes up about 10% of the weight of a human, okay? And if you look at hydrogen, right here on Earth, hydrogen occurs chiefly in combination with oxygen in water. And that's real critical, folks, because here in a minute, as we move through the lecture, I'm going to be talking about a property dealing with a molecule of water, because water is what we call a polar covalent compound, and that polar covalent compound has a very unique situation in which it almost behaves like an ionic compound. I'm going to talk more about that when we get there. But for right now, I just want to make a mention of it in regards to what it does. That's hydrogen that makes up, again, virtual students, you might be wanting to take some notes. It makes up 10% of a human body weight. And those of you that are going to anatomy and physiology, you're going to be doctors and nurses, you need to remember that. Oxygen, which is number 8 here on the periodic table, okay? Oxygen makes up approximately 64% of the body weight of a human, okay? And oxygen, which is extremely very reactive, is a compound of hundreds of thousands of organic compounds and combines with most elements, okay? And notice what we're saying here, that it's combining with just about everything you can think of that's out there. That's why the quantity of it is so great in human living systems, because that makes up the majority of what the human body is made out of. Okay, that's hydrogen. Okay, now, the other one is carbon, which is number 6. Okay, carbon, this is another one that is also in plentiful supply, and it's about approximately 19%, let me see, 19% of the makeup of the body in a human. And notice, again, carbon combines with hydrogen, oxygen, and nitrogen. Again, Chon, hello! Okay, now the other one is nitrogen. And nitrogen here is number 7. Okay, nitrogen is not found in as big of a concentration as the other 3, because nitrogen only makes up about 3% of the body weight of a human. Okay, and nitrogen, if you look at the uses of it, it goes down here in terms of the nitrogen compounds up here at the top, and nitrogen in nature. Where it's real prevalent is in the nitrogen cycle, which is one of the most important processes in nature for living organism. That's critical. Although nitrogen gas is relatively inert, bacteria in the soil are capable of fixing the nitrogen into a usable form as fertilizer for plants. Hey, Professor Paul, you gotta tell the parents where you getting this information from. Hello? This periodic table is courtesy of Los Alamos Laboratory in Los Alamos, Nuevo Mexico. It's part of our government facilities that do research in various kinds of endeavors. Those of you that are teachers and those of you that are parents can go there and get all this information. Not just what I've got here, but I'm talking about every single other one of, like, hey, hello, doctor, I think you use titanium, if I'm not mistaken, in a lot of the things that you do. Okay, now notice, titanium sits here with these three other elements that are not as common, okay? Now, I'm going to show you something that's made out of titanium so that you can understand what I'm saying. See this right here? This is something that is used, okay? That is used and placed in various parts of the body, okay? And notice, when this thing is placed inside the body, the titanium that's in here is not going to react with the other compounds that are found inside the body. So that's why this is very useful and very important. And that's the reason for the periodic table up here. If you put my periodic table back up here, that's why this is so critical for you to understand this.